Hello and welcome, ladies and gents, back to NE0 Guest to Know, the show where I get to speak to pros from all over the world. And of course, today I'm joined by none other than Kyuubii himself, Fnatics new boy. Brother, first of all, how's it doing? Thank you for joining me, man.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm doing really good. What about you?
Hey, man, I can't complain. Let's go back to the start for you. As we always do to start off these interviews, what is your story? How did you get into esports? When did you start playing games? What is your story? And how have you now led to being a professional, Counter-Strike player? How did it all begin?
Uh, It all began way back, like when I was 4 years old or something. I already used to play games, and I have two big brothers, so who used to own a PlayStation 1. And back then, I was obviously, like just playing games without having a thought behind it. I was just enjoying playing. And over the time, my brother got a computer, and then I switched to the computer and I played video games. And like over the time, I played a lot of different games, like games from like Tekken or back then even League of Legends for a longer period of time. Um, then Black Ops, like all the
Classic.
CODs,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then at the end of 2016, my attention got to CS:GO. Since my brother used to play CS:GO also, like I think he started 2015 or something like this, and I was really enjoying watching him play the game. It looked really fun to me, but I was like really young back then, so my brother
Sure.
didn't allow me to play it. And
That's a
then
good big brother if I've ever seen it.
and then when he was at work, I sneaked into his computer and like played offline against bots, and obviously he catched me. And then he saw that I had some, like decent aim, and then he also saw that I enjoy playing a lot Counter Strike, so he bought me the game eventually, and then I grinded it ever since then. Like at the end of 2016, I grinded CS:GO, and like I just played, like I had no thought behind it, just like every other game.
Mm.
But like over the time, people got like the eyes on me, like in the German scene as well, who like who just said like, keep going what you're doing right now. You have a lot of potential and a lot
Okay.
of talent. And that's when I realized, okay, maybe I should keep sticking to it and just like grind CS:GO until one day I make it professionally. And yeah, it
There you go.
happened.
And when did the kind of the conversation change for you from being, oh, this game's pretty fun, I like playing it, to actually I can make, money, I can make a living off this, I can go pro. When did the kind of the pro offers start coming, and how did it go about? Were you kind of some people get noticed through through Face It, they grind out, get to like FBLC, and they get noticed that way. What was your kind of narrative from going from just playing for fun but being pretty good to then turning pro and playing kind of domestically within Germany?
Yeah, I would say everything started basically as soon as turned 14. Because like when I was 14, I played my first ECA Advanced season, and back then it was like really valuable. Like ECA
Sure.
Advanced was like really stacked, and there were like a lot of good teams. It was like a league where you could show yourself. And I was back then like active in the international scene. I was playing with players like Keen back then,
Yeah.
who helped me a lot to grow as a player and as a human. And then over time, also like I had a small name in the German scene, since there was like a Faceit hub where only
Okay.
Germans could play. And there were like sometimes also players from like back then Sprout and like big, like like the bigger names from Germany.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I just like grinded pucks. I just played a lot, and I back then like also streamed sometimes, and had like something like between 50 and 100 viewers. And that's basically where everything started. And then yeah, like as soon as I turned 16, I got my first contract, and that's as well when I realized that you can actually like make money. And
For sure.
also at that time, my parents actually realized, okay, he can actually make money and not only play video games. They honestly like thought that, like I'm just silly playing video games
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
time. But then as soon as they realized I got like my first contract and saw that I can actually earn money, they started to support me as well. Like ever since then, as soon as I turned 16, they support me all the way, and
Sick.
they're watching all my games, always supporting me after the games, always telling me what I did good and bad, always trying to improve on my mistakes. So I also got like a lot of support from my family, which made everything easier,
Mm.
and my friends, of course. And yeah, so I would say everything started basically as soon as I turned 16. I got my first contract.
Fair enough. And how hard was that conversation at the start, trying to convince your parents, be like, this is not like a waste of time? 'Cause I know for some people it is a real grind. I think, you know, for me when I, you know, commentating, you know, for me it was like I had to show them like, hey, look, I can make money off this. Like this is like a living. For you, what was kind of, was it the success of or the contract, or how hard was that conversation with your parents? Be like, trust me, like this can work out.
Before I was 16, it was really hard because I couldn't convince them without earning any money. Sometimes like got small prize monies from tournaments,
Yeah.
and then they were also like kind of shocked that I got money from just playing video games.
Mhm.
But like when I got my first contract and I got like regularly my salary, they were like, okay, he actually can make some money, and as long as he's happy doing what he wants to do, we are just supporting him. Obviously, at the same time, I was going to school, so there was like no problem.
Okay.
And yeah, just basically was doing my school and at the like part-time playing CS. So there was like they were just supporting me, and it was obviously nice while you were going to school to earn some money as well.
For sure.
So yeah.
Was it hard kind of balancing both school and CS? 'Cause, I mean, you're talking about playing kind of 100+ hours a week, but then school takes up kind of the 9 to 5 sort of thing. Was that quite difficult, I guess, trying to balance both? Because you basically then, off the back of that, kind of have no free time to sort of anything else.
It was really rough. Like I honestly, I would be lying if I say it was easy. It was really, really rough.
Mhm.
A lot of times like didn't get enough sleep, and then like it was rough to wake up in the morning and convince yourself to go to
Yeah.
school, and then once you were like in school you were only thinking about CS, just playing the game, and you had like no attention in school when you had like your classes. But like the motivation kept me still going. Like every time I was in school I was like, I just want to be home and just
Yeah.
keep grinding, and yeah, so honestly, like I had nothing else in mind than just playing and grinding Counter-Strike. But
Mm,
obviously, like school took a lot of energy because it's not like honestly, it's like really hard to find the right balance. Like you have to choose on what you want to put your time more
for sure.
than like either you decide you want to graduate like on a good way and then you're like sacrificing hours in CS,
Mhm.
or you feel like okay, like for example, I was the kind of guy. I was like, okay, I'm very young, and a lot of people like said that I have a lot of talent and I don't want to waste this.
Mm,
So I was like putting more hours into CS than school,
mm.
and then like basically school become more rough to me. But I was like. I was like still doing okay, and at the same time, I was like just enjoying what I'm doing, like playing CS, and that was like the most important thing to me. And yeah, so it was really like the path was not easy for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I wanted to kind of start off as well talking about the German scene as a whole. Obviously, recently it kind of feels like it's been struggling a little bit. You know, Big are no longer kind of that solidified tier 1 team. They're not making it that far. They're not really qualifying to the place they should be. And it seems like kind of Sprout have gone international, for example. The kind of the feeder teams as well below are also sort of struggling. What's your thoughts, kind of as someone who kind of came up through the rungs of the German scene? What's your thoughts on how things are right now? Because on the outside, it looks like it's maybe in a bit of a rut.
Yeah, that's actually like a sad topic since we only have like a one top German team in the scene, and it's
Mm-hmm.
Big right now, and also like Big is struggling right now. Like
For
they're not
sure.
on the like good level right now. And as you said, Sprout went internationally, so we also lost them. And like following Sprout was alternate attacks and
Yeah, yeah.
also Big Academy. Um, so right now, I would say like the biggest problem we have is that we don't have a lot of good talents, as hard as
Mm-hmm.
it sounds, but we don't have like many upcoming stars compared to the CIS region, where obviously now Don came, but also like
Yeah.
a lot of new players in like Spirit Academy and also Navi Junior. Like a lot of people who just grinded their way up through Faced It, had like 4K, 5K elo and got their
Mm.
attention by also like streaming, having like a couple of hundred of viewers or something like this, and then like the right decision from like these orgs like Spirit and Navi was to sign them.
For sure.
Obviously, like there are like a lot of 13 or 14 years old youngsters who prove themselves, and it's nice to see that like the biggest organizations, science, these kind of names.
Yeah.
And that's like the rough thing about Germany, that you don't have like these kind of guys. Like I think the youngest talent we have in the German scene is actually AJ, who's like 13 years old,
Oh,
which is
yes, I've seen him. Yeah.
really young. And obviously he has to wait a couple of years to, you know, like start his real career, because obviously he needs to also like go school pathing, and then he can finally start his career.
Mhm.
And but like other than that, there are like some promising, like in the German scene, some promising individuals where you would say, okay, like the aiming is actually nice, it's decent, they can shoot,
Mhm.
but it's like not the whole package, right? Obviously, you need to shoot, but at the same time, you need to be like a smart guy. You need to be
For sure.
hardworking, and hardworking doesn't mean that you have like 120 hours in base it. It's basically okay. You need to also watch demos. You need to.
Yeah.
It's like more than just shooting, and also understanding the game. It's like the communication. It's like
For sure.
teamwork, and that is missing in Germany. If you look at Big, that's like they're like the perfect example of like, I think like Big has probably like is the team with the best grenades you can have, like the best
Yeah.
flashbangs
Yeah.
and smokes and Molotov lineups, and the tactical. They're also like a really smart tactical team. And unfortunately, they were struggling. I would say like the reason they were not like really successful was like they were struggling individually.
Mhm.
Like the superstar right now, I would say, is Crimbo.
Yeah, for sure.
And obviously back then, but also nowadays, like Tubson is really promising, no question. But like it's kind of sad to see, in my opinion, that Tubson has to IGL,
Yeah.
since we don't have like promising German IGLs. Like for example, if we would have like a promising German IGL in Big,
Mhm.
and Thompson could concentrate on just like his positions and like his star roles or whatever,
Yeah.
I think he would be the German Centaurus like by far. He's like so good individually. His aiming is so insane. He's such a smart guy, but it's not so easy to track
Yeah.
consistently and at the same time be a good IGL, because IGLing can be like in different ways. IGLing, you could like micromanage your players, but you could also give your players more freedom, and then um, you know, like there are different types of IGLs, and um, it's really hard, I can imagine, for them right now,
Mhm.
since especially for Thompson right now, like I think he's been like in up and downs recently,
Mhm.
like a lot of games where he has been carrying alone, and then a lot of games where, you know, he's been whiffing, but it's not easy, as I said, like being in IGL and playing consistently. Um, but I would say um, they made some changes, some interesting changes. They picked up JDC and Surson,
For
so it's
sure.
gonna be interesting to see what they're capable of. I think you know, like the benefit from this change is obviously that they can communicate in German again,
True.
and like hopefully it's gonna be good for them. Like for me personally, I don't mind if I'm talking German or English. Like nowadays, I'm talking more English than German. Like
Yeah.
even like over the day, like, you know, like I'm playing so many hours of practice or like pucks where I'm talking English, and I'm talking like more German over the day than German. I mean, no more English over the day than German, even at home. So, but I hope it helps them, and we will see how they will go forward.
Yeah,
They
for
have
sure.
some promising players, like obviously Surson, everyone knows, like back then in the online, like when COVID was back then, like he was really insane online.
Mhm.
And JD is also a promising player. He didn't play, like he played for Mouse for good reason, you know. And I'm really excited to see what they're capable of with this new roster for sure.
Well, there we go. And of course, I want to talk about kind of you specifically. You're one of your biggest kind of opportunities where you really start to make a name for yourself was Sangal. How did that sort of thing come around for you? You know, Sangal, an international organization. You know, before that played primarily domestic Counter Strike, where you'd be in this kind of up and comer, but then Sangal, you really started to make a name for yourself. Where did that all start, and how did kind of Sangal? How did the opportunity come about?
So before I joined Sangal, I was playing for No Limit Gaming,
Mm-hmm.
which was my first and also like my only German team I played for. And basically my contract was running out at the end of the year, and I had a good friend, like good friends of mine in Sangal back then already, who were like rebuilding the team. It was Sensei and Tugai,
Okay.
and they're both Germans, so they obviously like contacted me and had a chat with me, and were, like they were convinced what I was saying, and at the same time I was really interested in what um, like in their rebuild. And obviously, like the organization as a name, they were like really known in the Turkish scene, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also like internationally, like they had the uh, Turkish lineup with Major, Emor, Paz,
Sure.
these kind of people who already like obviously made their name in the international scene. So I saw this opportunity as a big chance for me. Um, and yeah, everything started basically there. That Sensei and Tugai basically contacted me as soon as they got the permission to rebuild the team, and yeah, and then obviously they also got some other players, like for example Soulfly, like
Yeah.
the other Turkish guy, which was like the most promising Turkish player they probably had in the Turkish scene. And I got the chance to play, in my opinion, with one of the smartest guys I've ever played with, Skrunk,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
I brought to the team, and I'm really happy that I get the chance to play with this guy, because he's such a smart guy, and especially he's like really really hardworking,
Mm.
which I've never seen from anyone else before, and he helped me as well, like to grow and like understand the game better, and I'm really thankful for that. And he basically, I never heard of him before, but he brought up Corey into the team, who was playing FPLC before.
For sure.
And that's basically how we got our team back then in Sangal, and everything started from there. So basically, like we built a team, but the people, like not everyone knew each other before. So for example, I didn't know about Corey, I didn't know about Soulfly.
Mm-hmm.
The same was like for them, they didn't know about me, so it was like a fresh team, and basically everything started from there on.
For sure. And for you, how big of a difference was it kind of that early on in your career going from playing kind of like you said that your first ever German team then playing international? How big of a difference is it in terms of, you said you quite happy communicating English now, but was it the same case back then, or was it actually a bit of a learning curve going from playing, in your native tongue to then going towards an international roster? I'm assuming communicating in English then as well. Um, how difficult was it? You're learning new cultures as well. Comedy in not your first language. Was it much harder?
I would say it was like pretty easy to
Okay,
switch, because I was playing like already easy advanced with 14 in an international team, so I was like already kind of used to it.
sure.
But obviously, like playing in another team with different people and talking English again is like you need to get used to it, because the language is different. Like for example, could be like the smallest detail. For example, you cannot make the same jokes you do in English than in German in your
Sure.
native in your mother language. And like obviously it took some, I would say, like weeks to
Mm.
get used to it. But then like after latest 1 month, it was like really easy to communicate. Like I never had problem to communicate in English with the others. So it was, yeah, everything went smooth, and was fine for me.
Fair enough. And then, of course, where you're at now, Fnatic. I mean, how did that sort of opportunity come around for you, and how did it feel to kind of then go and represent such a mammoth organization, right? Fnatic are legendary within Counter Strike, no matter whether it's kind of Source 1.6 go into 2, right? So, like, how did that opportunity come around for you, and how did it feel to kind of get the offer, right? I mean, that must have been a really big day for you.
Yeah, for sure. How I got the opportunity, I would also say like it was again the same situation as it was before Sanger. My contract was about to run out,
Mm-hmm.
and basically, um, yeah, I had in the summer, like in the same year, Fnatic picked me up last year. Basically, in summer I finished school,
Mm-hmm.
and I basically went full time, and that basically rapidly increased my performance as well, since I could like play more hours of CS, which I was already enjoying before. But I was grinding CS even more than I was doing before, and that increased my performance. I again took more responsibility. I had new positions, so I played like a lot of different positions. I can like understand my teammates in many different scenarios, and yeah, like over time, we obviously in Sangal we rebuilt our roster. Skrunk and Corey got benched, and then we got LNZ and Youngster, and like a lot of things happened in Sangal back then. But we just kept grinding, playing a lot of practice, and tried to play as many officials as possible. And eventually, Fnatic caught the attention on me, which I was really happy about. And basically everything happened after we played our last ESL Challenger game. Our ESL Challenger league or season was really rough in Sangal since
Sure.
we went, I think, like 1-4 or something, actually 0-5, and then we had to play the relegation. But I was really happy afterwards that we kept the slot, and I was like really happy for the others as well that like I tried everything possible in my hands to like keep the slot for them since I had only good memories in Sangal. And thankfully we did it. And basically, yeah, everything happened after the ESL Challenger season that Fnatic contacted me and said, hey, we have a tournament soon, we are rebuilding our roster, and we would like to, have a talk with you. And then we got to talk each other, and everything started basically there, that they were pretty interested in me, and I was really happy. Obviously, like, I still can't believe that I got the chance to play for Fnatic. It's like,
Yeah.
if you talk to people who don't really know a lot about CS or like about games, but like a lot of people just know the name Fnatic. So it's like
Exactly.
if you talk about esports, almost 99%, like will know the name Fnatic, and
Yeah.
it's just like one of the biggest organizations, and I'm just like really thankful for this opportunity. And yeah, still until today, I really can't like believe what is happening, and I'm just like grateful for this opportunity, and I will try everything in my, like in my hands to take this opportunity.
For sure. And when you got brought onto the team, was it kind of more excitement or a mixture of nerves in there as well? Because obviously for you, it's a big step this early on in your career, getting to play for an organization of this caliber, but also, you've really stepped up in terms of your opponents you're playing against. You're playing against some of the biggest hitters in the scene. And, it's never easy going from playing, Sangal were kind of primarily in that kind of upper echelon of kind of tier 2, but it still is sort of tier 2. And now you're getting the stage to play consistent lands, first of all, but also then, some very, very difficult opponents. What was the feeling like when you kind of started, when you really, contract signed, it's confirmed, you now start pracking, and then it's like, okay, well now, I've got Astralis next week, or I've got, Donk around the corner. Like, what is that feeling? Is it excitement because you know how good these guys are, or is it also kind of nerves because you know how good they are?
Excitement for sure. Like, it's really nice to know that you are consistently like playing against the best teams in the world. And as you said, like playing more LANs, like I think that was missing for sure. Like in Sang, I've been playing like 2 LANs, but big LANs actually. Like we have been playing 2 times, like attending the AMA, which was
Yes.
like a really valuable experience for me. But like playing also like different LANs is like a valuable experience. Like as soon as I joined Fnatic, we played the Elisa International LAN in Finland,
For sure.
which was like a valuable experience for me. Um, but yeah, excitement for sure. But also like on one note, I also realized that I didn't get this chance because I was lucky. I got this chance because I also like deserved it in a way. Like
For sure.
I knew for myself like that I've been like, especially in the last couple of months, like basically last ever from like last summer, where I went full time. I've been like putting more hours, and it paid off for sure, and I'm happy about that. And so I was like really grateful for this opportunity, and I just want to, like don't let this opportunity slip away, and just like use this chance to prove everyone that I belong here. And obviously it's like really rough. Like it can be rough to like join a new team, since like a lot of times when you join like different teams, like the system will be different as well.
For sure.
And obviously you need to get used to, like just meet each other again, first of all. Like it will take weeks or like maybe months to, like get closer to each other if you don't know uh, each other before. And then you need to also get used to the new system you're playing. You need to, I think like one thing a lot of people don't realize is that when you change, or like let's just say um, when you're doing good in your recent team, and then like a bigger team like Fnatic comes up to you and picks you up, like you won't be playing 1-to-1 the same Counter-Strike as you did
For
before.
sure.
Like you have to sacrifice a lot of things, like maybe positions, and you have to play new positions and you have to learn new positions, or the way of calling will change. Like obviously your IGL will change, and from, as I said before, like um, I used to play with different IGLs, for example, IGLs who like to micromanage, or who said, for example, I will give you a lot of freedom and you decide yourself what you want to do. So a lot of X factors are important when you are switching a team, and you need to, like you need time to get used to it. Um, and I think that was the case for me when I joined Fnatic. It wasn't like the easiest start for me, especially individually, um, since I was like not putting the same numbers up than I was doing in Sanger before I got picked up.
For sure.
But I was like not really like questioning myself, that like why I'm not performing or something like this. I just knew that it will take me some time. Like it's normal that it will take you some time to get used to it, and then eventually, like after some months, you will start to perform. And just like the Finland LAN was like really rough, since we basically had like 6 practice. Like on each map, we played just one
Right.
practice, and
Sure.
then we just like played the LAN. So it was also like at the same time, that were like the first days with the team, to like like meet up, or
Yeah.
like meet each other. And basically everything started after that. We started to practice, and then we started to have our own protocols, setups, threads, and so on. And over time, like we had a boot camp in January in the beginning, to prepare for the AMA qualifiers, and then we played the open qual and the closed qual, and then like there have been some valuable practice days, and it paid off in the end to qualify for the AMA, which was like our second, but you could say like our first real LAN, since that was like the
Yeah.
first LAN where we actually had like a lot of practice. Um, and yeah, like over time when we had like like when we talked about every map and setups and protocols and stuff like this, I got more comfortable as well on my positions. And sometimes here and then we had to change positions again, because we just realized, okay, maybe it wasn't like the right fit, and then like we just changed and then said, okay, let's try it this way, and it worked better. And then just the same as we did in the beginning of the team, just grind a lot of practice days to see how it goes, and then eventually it was better, and the synergy got better. And yeah, just right now, it's been like already a few months since I joined Fnatic, and I'm feeling like very comfortable on the positions I'm playing right now. And I'm really happy that as well, like recently I've been like performing better individually as well,
For sure.
to like also to show myself again, that like it wasn't luck that I joined here. So I'm happy about it.
Okay. Well, obviously as well, before you joined Fnatic, they've been struggling for a while. I think it goes without saying. They had to go through a big change. They did. They brought 3 of you in at the same time. And I think it was Afro who came in like 5 months before you guys joined. What is kind of the plan for Fnatic? They've been struggling for a while. What's the org sort of plan for kind of turning things around? They've obviously gone through big roster changes. The main one, only Crims is the last man kind of remaining in the team. So what's their kind of idea of getting back? I know obviously recently you've been playing quite a lot of the online tournaments. That seems to be quite a positive way to gain reps, officials under your belt, but also as well, just be in playing against some decent competition. And you've got lands coming up too. But what's the org kind of, how have they been kind of talking to you guys saying, right, this is how we're going to turn it around?
Yeah, as you said, like I think like an important thing is to play as many online tournaments as possible, to also like since Fnatic changed like the majority lineup, like 3 of the players, they lost like their points and their wealth ranking.
Mm.
So it's like important to play as many tournaments as possible to gain points again and get like all the important invites. For example, I think like it's maybe the first time. I'm not sure that Fnatic is like missing out the Katowice play-in, and
Yeah.
that was since they changed the majority lineup, and obviously they don't want to change. For example, they don't want to like miss out, for example, like Cologne or something. So that's like really important that we play now a lot of tournaments as possible to gain points. And the first online tournament we played was Res,
Yeah.
which we actually won.
Hey.
But like we didn't like accept the tournaments with the thought behind it that we wanna like win all of the tournaments. It was just kind of like, okay, we wanna have like practice like in officials basically. Like
Mm.
officials are the best practice you can have, like the best experience you can make to actually get used to the atmosphere and like everything going on in like the most stressful and chaotic matches, right? So we just accepted the tournaments to gain some valuable experience, and over the tournament, like in the team, we for sure like noticed that we gained a lot of experience and grew as a team. And so this is like our, like our goal to play as much as possible, since we have been lacking experience, I would say. Like it's as well important for, like for me, since I'm really young still,
For sure.
and as well Matti, who has been joining from Zampi as well, that we just play a lot to,
Mm.
get used to it. And obviously we have experienced guys, like Crims and also Buddy, which makes it easier. And yeah.
Okay, and obviously for you guys as well, especially for you and Matties, this is a big step up in terms of organization. What would you say is kind of the main difference between, we'll call them a tier 2 organization, for example, of Sangal. They're not one of the bigger names, they're not partnered teams, for example. What is kind of the biggest difference between kind of a tier 2 and a tier 1 organization? Whether it's in terms of, obviously we already spoke about the type of teams you play against, but also maybe the practice schedules or the facilities or the experiences you get. What is the kind of the biggest differences?
The biggest difference is, I would say, that things feel way more serious.
For sure.
Like, like when we have talks, it feels like we are talking in clear details. For example, what our goals are, what we want to achieve, and what kind of time zone we want to achieve something, And obviously, like I would say, um, like in a team like Fnatic, you will have like regularly boot camps, which was like less the opportunity in like Sangal that um, we sometimes had boot camps, but not as often. And that is, I would say, like also like a big difference compared to like, like the other organizations who are like
Sure.
not on the top, that you don't get the opportunity to um have like, you can obviously have online boot camps where like you're grinding a lot from home, right?
Yeah.
But it's really important to have also like boot camps to, like spend time with the people in real life to build a good chemistry, synergy. It's obviously some valuable time as well. It's not only about playing good on the server. Like obviously, if you understand well each other, in real life, or like also like only in TeamSpeak outside of the server, then you will perform better on the server as well, because like you build up some trust and also like good relationship with each other. Um, so I would say that's some big change.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, obviously, as you said, like the level of practice, like been playing like against some, like consistently playing against like the best teams in the world.
For sure.
And um yeah, it's like, I just think the main factor is like things feel more serious, actually.
Okay, fair enough. And then, of course, in talking about Sangar and Fnatic, how different are the systems that you spoke about? Kind of the types of IGLing, the system that you play in, and for you specifically, how different have those kind of systems been? And also, have your roles changed at all? Are you playing for the most part pretty similar positions and roles kind of across most maps?
Um, when it comes up to roles, I change a lot of positions actually.
Okay.
Like when I was like one thing when I joined Sanger, I played like all the anchor roles, and I have been lurking on T side. And
Mm.
after 1.5 years, I changed to being like still being a lurker, but on the city side, uh, be more kind of an active player. So which meant that I can move around and like play positions. People say those are like the star positions, but for me it's like they're not necessarily the star positions because they're like the hardest positions honestly
Mm.
to manage, since you have to talk a lot. Like you are moving a lot, but you need to move in the like in the right timings to the right positions, and you have to micromanage a lot as well, like your teammates, what you want from them, which nades you want, and like you're not playing your positions alone as you did as an anchor. Like as an anchor, a lot of times you're alone, like um, and then you have to talk less and just like focus more on your crosshair. So it was like a big change for me, but it helped me a lot to improve as a player and understand like more kind of my teammates when like I played for such a long time anchor, and then
Mm.
the role swap was like really good to also like understand the different like view of the
Mm.
game. Um, and when I joined Fnatic, I had to sacrifice some positions, but I was thinking more of like of the whole team. Like
Sure.
for
Yeah.
example, for example, I was always like the kind of guy. Okay, if nobody wants to play this position, let me just play this position. As long as you guys feel comfortable, I will also feel comfortable. And especially when you have a guy like Matthias, who has been insane. I don't want to take his positions away. And then yeah, like we came to the conclusion, okay, on some maps, I kept my position, on some maps I didn't. And um, yeah, but like right now, I'm comfortable with the positions I have, and it's a learning process, so there's always room to improve for sure. But like there are like no bad positions. There are like only bad players who complain about positions. So
There we go.
um, yeah, so overall right now happy with the positions I have, and yeah.
I love it. Okay. And of course, before Fnatic, you didn't actually get a huge amount of LAN opportunities or at least regular LAN opportunities. And now it's becoming like the norm for you. You've already got quite a few in the calendar. You've already had one to start the year. This is becoming like a regular thing for you. So how do you now prepare for LANs? Obviously they're a completely different environment. You're out of your comfort zone of kind of your room, for example. What's it been like kind of getting ready for LANs? How do you feel about kind of traveling for Counter-Strike? Is it something that you kind of still getting used to, or is it just kind of normal? And even for your family, how does it feel for them to see, every couple of weeks, you're like, I'm sorry, I'm off to this country to go and play Counter-Strike for a week?
Yeah, my mom was always telling me, no, you will not travel again. You will stay at home. But I'm telling her I have to go. It's my job. Um, so I'm enjoying it a lot, like traveling around the world by playing Counter-Strike. Like
Mm.
it's actually insane that I can live my dream. And also got like already used to it, since I've been like traveling. Um, you know, uh, like the first time I traveled in my life was actually d- when I joined Sanger. Like before that, I never like
Okay.
flew. Like I never took a plane, and I never traveled like around the world. So basically, everything started when I, like played for Sanger, and ever since
Sick.
then, already I like visited like different countries, and it's been amazing. And I'm just looking forward to do it just like more often on a regular basis. Um, and yeah, as you said, like it's kinda getting out of the comfort zone.
Mm.
Um, it's not the same, like playing LANs is not the same as playing from home, but it's not something bad. Like it's a valuable experience, but it's also something nice. Like you're playing in a studio, you're playing like with a good ping. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
times you're playing like on a good setup, and like there are like some lands where especially like also the view or the location is really nice. For example, when you play Pro League, you know, like playing on Malta's
True.
also something nice. It's not only about like playing, but also when you're not playing that, you know, like you have a good time and that you can like spend some time off as well. So it's really important that for me personally, it's really important that I play as many lands as possible.
Yeah.
Since for me, honestly, like on lands, I didn't perform as well as I did online, which I'm sad about because every time like we play lands are often like more important than, you know, like online matches. So um, it's it's the kind of stage where you basically have to prove everyone wrong that you belong there. So it's it's time for me that, you know, like I get used to playing lands and that I show my performance which I did online, and I hope that the next lands we will play, that I'm like capable of doing that. So yeah, I'm for sure like looking forward to play numerous lands and yeah.
Okay. Final few questions as well on this, the kind of the Counter Strike theme. One of the final questions about Fnatic. Obviously, the RMR that just concluded, just missing out on a major spot in that LCQ. What? How did the RMR feel for you? Like individually and for you guys as a team. What do you kind of think went wrong to not make it to the major? Or what do you think went right? You know, being one of your kind of still one of your pretty early tournaments as a team. You still guys haven't really actually been together all that long. What were kind of the positives and the negatives coming off the back of the RMR? And of course, kind of what do you think led to, you know, unfortunately not quite making it to the major?
Mm, it's hard. Like I would say the biggest reason was like, as you said, we we have been together for already a few months, but still not long enough, you know, to avoid the type of mistakes which you do when you are a brand new team. So um, I would say like we were still lacking some kind of practice on some specific maps as well. Like we obviously also we already had our map pool, but um, and then we could like upset like good teams as Bad Boom as well, like confidently as
Yeah,
well. But then we had like a harder time against some different teams, you know.
sure.
Like our results on Vertigo, for example, were not the best, and we have been playing like Vertigo almost every single official, and we couldn't like close it out. Like for example, against Koi, we were leading like 11-5 or something, and then we basically let our guard down. I would say like we did like a lot of small mistakes, which basically I would say happened due to all the stress we had.
Yeah,
Um, and as I said before, that was like also like valuable experience that, you know, like I'm 100% sure which wouldn't have happened like online, but it just got like to us players, obviously like also to me, that we got like a bit stressed, and then it got chaotic in the comms or like in the rounds we did. So yeah, unfortunately, we didn't make it, but I'm honestly like more proud that after the Arma we just bounced back immediately and like won our first tournament together, which is like really important to me personally, but
yeah.
also like I think for the team for sure to achieve. Um, which basically just shows that we have potential to grow, and I'm happy that we showed it. And it's basically now in our hands to keep going as we did in the last tournament.
Sick. Well, we love to see it. And of course, for yourself personally, what is kind of your goals now going forward? You know, 18 years of age, you're already playing at kind of, you know, at a very, very high level on one of the biggest organizations of Counter Strike. For the future heading in towards CS2, what's the goals? What do you want to achieve? What kind of aspirations do you set for yourself? Because it's kind of a difficult thing, right? Because you don't want to be kind of too confident or too cocky, or maybe you do, but then obviously you don't want to kind of undersell yourself. So what kind of goals do you set yourself? Where do you kind of want to see?
Yeah, I'm never getting too cocky. I don't like these kind of guys who in the end get too cocky and then don't achieve it, you know.
Yeah.
But for me personally, um, it's like really important that I want to be satisfied with my performance. Like I want to be like at the end of the day when we have like a practice day or like an official, I just want to say, okay, I'm satisfied with the performance I had today, and I want to be able to say the same about like the team, like when that we have like a good team performance, where I see that we have the potential to grow, which I have right now. And it's basically, I'm not thinking of, okay, in 3 months, I want to be top 10 with the team.
Yeah.
I want to, like be in the playoffs of whatever, like ESL Cologne, for example, I am Cologne. I'm just thinking more of, it's a learning process. It will take some time, and we will eventually get there, like sooner or later. So I don't, I don't stress myself too much, and um, it's just, as I said before, it's really important to play as many online tournaments first of all, that we just like gain the official experience, because of playing officials and playing practice is like something different. Um, is and yeah, basically everything else will like come over time. Like just um, play officials and feel comfortable in our play style, and obviously just like slowly eventually get there where Fnatic used to be, like to the top, but there's like no stress.
That's good. And for the organization as well, what's kind of their goals? I mean, it's kind of they're in probably one of the weirdest situations they've been in for a long, long time, where it's a completely new roster. You're all actually quite young as well, especially yourself and Matty's, or in terms of this top level, it's not something you're used to at this point, right? So what kind of expectations or goals are they set upon you guys? You've got actually quite a stacked calendar. You start off with the RMR. You've got Pro League coming up, a few other tournaments alongside. I think there's a Fire League as well. There's another one that is a LAN coming forward. But what kind of goals and expectations do they set for you guys going into this tournament? Do they say go in saying, we're expecting a win, or is it just about working as a team, getting to a point where you're kind of a regular within tier one?
Yeah. Like Fnatic is not putting any pressure to the players.
That's
Like they
great.
don't say, okay, at the end of the month you have to be, like you have to be top 20, you have to beat these kind of teams, you have to, like win this qualifier, win this tournament. Um, they are supporting us like a lot, and only like kind words, and it's like really easy, like to not overthink about when you lose a match which you should have won, because you don't like feel pressured, since the organization is like not pressuring you in any way. So as you said, Fnatic is probably like in the most weirdest situation they've ever been.
For sure, yeah.
But I think like they also, like made up their mind when they built this roster. They knew, okay, it's gonna take some months to go back where they were,
Yeah.
Like obviously picking up me, you could say it's also like kind of a gamble, because I'm very young. Um, I did good in online, but I haven't showed myself on LANs. And obviously on, like when you play for the best teams in the world, you will play majority of the tournaments LANs. So it's also like a challenge for me to prove everyone wrong, that I can also, like that I'm capable of performing on LANs as well.
For sure.
And then, it's the same for Mattis as well. He's been insane online, and he has been playing more LANs than I did. So he has more experience there. But obviously he also like didn't attend like bigger LAN tournaments. Like for example, I played less LAN tournaments, but I played like more valuable LANs. For example, I attended the AMA twice, and I think like the AMA is probably like one of the most pressured LANs you can have, because
Yeah.
you always like kind of overthink in a way. Okay, what if you qualify? What if you don't qualify? And that is like it's a poison thought to just think about.
Yeah.
Okay, what happens if I qualify? What happens if you don't qualify? So there's like a lot of pressure on AMAs for sure. Um, so yeah, I think like Fnatic knew as soon as they, like rebuilt this roster, that um, it will take some few months, but this roster for sure has like the potential to, like go back to the top where they were before. Um, and yeah, as I said before, like there's no pressure, which is really nice. So the players like won't overthink. Okay, what happens if I don't perform? you know. So yeah, hopefully we will slowly get there where Fnatic was.
Love it.
For.
Well, we'll move on to some questions from kind of Twitter, Reddit, and just random ones. I will start off quite a good one because it's actually where we met. ISF. How was that for you? What was it like playing ISF? And also, kind of, what was it like in playing for not your team, for your nation, kind of like a World Cup? What was that kind of experience like?
It was really nice for sure. It felt really weird to, like first of all again speak German because it
It's been a
has been
while.
a long time. Yeah, exactly. But also you're not playing with your team as you said,
Yeah.
and I know the people I played with, but um I like didn't play a lot of pucks with them or something. Like I knew them from like talking to them.
Yeah, yeah.
But like the ISF, I think it was like some nice experience as well. Um, like play, especially like the stage was also really, really nice. There were like so many people. It was the
Yeah.
first time I played like a LAN with a crowd as well.
It was
So
pretty
it was
big,
nice.
yeah. It was like it's quite
Yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of
for
people
sure.
there, yeah.
That's for sure. And yeah, it was nice for sure. We had a pretty good run. Unfortunately, in the final, we couldn't show,
Yeah.
like show the results we did before. But honestly, like I was happy that I even got the chance to play.
Mm.
Um, and it was really nice for sure. And I saw that there will be another ISF in which country was it again?
I think the finals were in Saudi Arabia, I think, this
Yeah,
year, yeah.
exactly. I think so too, and I think that's like really nice to see. I think like I read that maybe like Team Spirit is attending, so like a lot
Okay.
of like bigger teams will
Yeah.
start to attend, and
Are you
I
gonna
think
be
it's
there?
like
Are you gonna go back again?
who knows, never say never. But yeah, I think it's like really nice that you also have like this kind of feeling. Like as a player, honestly, it felt like you're basically like playing, attending the World Cup. Like
Yeah, yeah.
serving your own country, and yeah, it was a nice feeling for sure. And hopefully, it will get like more attention as well and
Mm.
like a bigger viewership because it was a nice tournament for sure.
Sick, sick. So another one you kind of actually sort of touched on a little bit. How many languages do you speak? You speak English, speak German, you speak any others?
I speak Turkish,
There we go.
but yeah, that's our like only three languages.
Which one do you prefer to speak?
um, I mean, like German first language,
Mm.
then like it's kind of weird. At home, I'm talking Turkish only
Sure.
to my parents. Um, to my brothers, I'm talking German.
Okay.
Um, but I prefer German, and then um, I prefer English and then Turkish.
Okay, there we go. Someone else asked, what's your warm up routine?
My warm-up routine is to go on aimbots, kill 500 people, and that's it. Like basically, I
Okay.
just go onto the aimbot. I don't do deathmatch. I basically play as much as basically as soon as I have like my mouse feeling and no cold ends, and
Hmm.
basically that's it.
Fair enough. Someone else asks, who was your idol growing up? Your CS idol. Was there any kind of certain player, like not the Brazilian guys, obviously it's like Fallen or Cold Zera. Was anybody for you growing up? Or you were like, I want to be like them?
Honestly, I don't have a CS idol.
Okay.
Um, like I think probably like I don't have an idol, but I think like one storyline is unique to me, and it's probably like Zaibu, since
Of
he
course. Yeah.
ever since he attended like his first big team, he was like the best,
Mm.
you know, like he joined Vitality and he became the number one in the world, and that is
True.
like a statement for me.
Yeah.
And I would say like that storyline is unique, but honestly, I wouldn't say that even he like him is no like I don't have an idol, I would say.
Okay. Fair enough. Another one was, is there any up and coming young players? Don't have to be from Germany. Just any up and comers that you've noticed that you think could be like a future a bold prediction or some special player going forward. Any kind of up and comers you noticed?
Honestly, I think like there are too many. Um, like there are a lot of people, especially like grinding Faceit and like I think I saw one guy recently who qualified for FPL through this FPL grounding
Yeah,
talent qualifier who was 15. Um, and it's actually crazy. Like I didn't know him before, but it's actually crazy to see how many young players we actually have.
yeah.
And I don't have a specific name in my mind, but I think like honestly, like the next years will be very interesting to see because we will have a lot of new donks for sure soon
Probably.
enough.
Yeah, exactly. That scene just pumps out, these wonder kids all the time. So it's
Yeah,
probably going to be the case. Another
yeah.
one was, what's your proudest moment of your career so far?
Um, Proudest, I would say probably attending or like qualifying for the first armor.
Mm,
That was like the first time I that was like the second LAN I ever played, but it was like the most important one.
yeah.
But it was like also that was the first time, like I went abroad and traveled for the first time.
Mm,
Um, and it was just like the realization to if we win 3 games, we could qualify for the major. But even if you don't qualify, this tournament will have a lot of viewers. Like people will maybe remember your name, and
mm,
that is like basically the stage where you can prove everyone wrong and also like show yourself. And it was just like really nice to see um, that basically um, it's not like I was not far away from like like uh, playing on the big stages like
yeah, yeah.
regularly. Like after qualifying first time for the AMA, we qualified like a second time for the AMA in Malta, and it was like kind of the same thing. I would say like just really proud that the first time wasn't like luck or
Yeah.
anything like that, but then it was like the same feeling again. Like the second time we didn't qualify for the major, but it was just like really really nice to see that it was like not far away from
Mm,
qualifying to the major, because I think like qualifying to the AMA is like already such a huge achievement,
for sure.
um especially when you are like not playing for like the biggest organizations where you would say, okay, it's like must have to qualify to the major, for example. Um, I think back then Astralis, for example, they didn't qualify, and obviously they cannot say in the end that okay, we can be proud of like qualifying to the AMA. So, um, but I think like the proudest moment for sure is like attending like the AMAs, and
Okay.
because obviously like attending the major is like it's like a dream of every CS player for sure. Just
Yeah.
like having your own CS ticker, but yeah, just that's like for sure like a dream coming true.
Yeah, fair enough. And on the flip side, what are you most excited for in the future? Any kind of events or anything that you're excited for generally?
Just playing some nice tournaments. For example, like upcoming soon, ESL Pro League will be my first time, and it will be nice for sure.
Hmm.
Not only like playing like the last, like only playing AMAs is like you're feeling a lot of pressure.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and it's nice to play a LAN again where you don't feel as pressured. Like it's not like okay, if you lose, you don't qualify for the major. If you lose, like you're like still in a group stage. You have like still a lot of like many chances to like make it out of the group and then go to the playoffs. It's like I'm just looking forward to play like like the different tier 1 tournaments now, ESL
yeah,
Pro League, and I would say like also like a dream coming true would be like playing the IM Cologne, which is obviously
for
like
sure.
still far away, but that would be like like I'm aiming slowly to get there, like playing like the bigger tournaments, and that is like the first step. And obviously like the next step would be to perform on a good note, like not only individually but also like as a team, that we
Yeah.
can show everyone that we're not just there to like participate, but we're there to like make a statement. And yeah.
Okay. And another one that's kind of been last couple here, and one that's been the talking point I think at the moment with CS is about the maps. What map do you think needs to be removed, and what replaces it?
What map needs to be replaced?
Like, what do you think is the worst map in the pool?
I think like I would start with like Inferno isn't like the
Based.
worst map, but like I would say it's just so sad to see like Inferno compared like from CS:GO to CS2 that it got to
True.
like way worse. And in CS:GO it was like much nicer to play, and but still I wouldn't say like Inferno is the worst map. I would say like Vertigo is probably like a map which needs to be removed. It's like for me personally, it's like not a map which I'm enjoying playing. Like even in packs, it doesn't like feel nice to
Sure.
like just play Vertigo. Um, but if I had to replace Vertigo, I think a lot of people would hate me if I say replace it with Cache instead of Cobblestone. Because when I started playing CS, I didn't play like Cobblestone at all. I was like grinding Cache a lot. Like I love this map a lot, and also in packs I have been enjoying playing it. It was like such a nice map, and I was really sad as soon as they removed it.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say if we remove one map, it would be Vertigo, and if we get the chance to add a map, then I would say it has to be Cache for sure.
Do you know what? I agree with that. I think that's pretty solid. I'm one of the people who says Cobble's overrated. I don't think it was that good. As much as much as people want to say it. What else? Last question, actually. The last question we got here is: what is it like playing with King Crims, and what sort of knowledge can you gain from such an experienced player, somebody who's been playing for as long as he has? What is it like, kind of, for yourself as quite a young and sort of newer player to the top level? What's it like playing with somebody kind of as experienced as him, and what do you gain off playing with somebody experienced as him?
I mean, it has been amazing so far to play with him. And probably like a lot of people from the outside will think that he will have a big ego because he played like with the like back then he was like playing in the best team in the world and he
Yeah.
played with the best players in the world. But it's not the case. Like he doesn't have a big ego and he's been such a funny guy as well. Like he is basically the clown in the team, like spreading good mood.
Yeah.
Um, and he's been a good friend of mine already. And like there's just like so much to learn from this guy. I think like his biggest strength is that he's such a calm guy, and you can notice on the server as well. Like when situations get like really stressful and chaotic, he's always like in the voice, like always saying or like talking in a calmer voice,
For sure.
so other people realize as well, okay, like calm a bit down, you don't have to scream. And that actually helps our communication a lot to, like make a better call. Because that was like our issue in the beginning of the team that, as I can also talk for myself, like in, I was like, my calling was a lot like, I would say like hectic. And he has been improving my communication by just like, by only his voice, I realized, okay, I have to actually also like just talk calmer. And yeah, like I would say that's his biggest strength for sure. But also just like the experience, like for example, the way he's playing clutches, I think it's amazing. Like he's been so good in playing out clutch rounds. Honestly, that's like one thing I would say about myself is like I think I'm pretty confident in like clutch rounds.
Yeah.
But when I saw him clutching, I was like, okay, like the way of thinking is like has changed a lot when I saw him clutching. Like
Sure.
I'm always like, okay, he's playing it like this, but I would have played it like way different. But but he's such a smart guy, and I'm like enjoying my like my journey with alongside him that I can learn so much from him. And yeah, you can definitely notice that he is like such an experienced guy.
Well, there we go, brother. That will conclude all of our questions. We'll finish off here. I mean, if anything you want to shout out or anybody you want to shout out, you're more than welcome to. The floor is yours. But that's basically all the questions done. So feel free. If anyone you want to shout out, go for it.
First of all, thanks for this interview. Thanks for reaching out. But other than that, like, thanks for everyone for listening and tuning in. Just want to say thanks to every supporter. I read your messages, always kind to see. And also to my family and friends who have been supporting me all the way until now. And shout out to my parents who will probably listen to this interview. And yeah, thanks everyone, and see you.
Oh, we love it. There we go. Well, of course, go and check out all the socials. You see them. They'll be on the screen here, but also linked down below. All the good stuff. But thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure. Until next time, we appreciate it. If you're new here, like, subscribe, all the shit that people do. We love to see it. Thank you very much for joining us. Kyuubii, thank you, brother. It's been a pleasure to have you on. Until next time, see you soon.
Bye.